I have a new Android box in today for review. It's the T95Z Plus. This is an octa-core Android box, and the lower right hand corner I've listed out the spec. Pretty standard package with this. Power adapter, HDMI lead and remote, and the hexagon shaped Android box. Moving in a bit closer on the remote, it's slightly better than some of the ones you get. You get color coding. You also have a small LED at the top, which lets you know when a button is pressed. Feels a bit better quality than some of the remotes that I've used before. Have a brushed metal effect on the top panel. You can also program the 5 buttons at the top. Just push and hold the power in for about 4 seconds. Pick the one you want, and then put the remote at the top there to program it. And that's kind of handy because you can change the source, mute and volume, and control the power for the TV. Won't completely replace the TV remote, but it's certainly useful. Powers via 2 AAA batteries. These are my own ones. You don't get any included in the pack. Taking a closer look at the box, at the front we have a LED display. We'll have a look at that in a second. And on the side here we have one USB, Ethernet port and an optical out, digital, power, HDMI out, and the AV jack, and there's another USB with a micro SD card slot. Only point to note on this is the HDMI is close to the power, so make sure you use a supplied cable. Some oversized ones can be a bit big. Booting up the box, you'll see the LED display on the front. This will give you the time as well as some other indicators such as Wi-Fi or LAN. Also, you will see if you insert a USB plug into the side or a memory stick, that will come up too. It's quite a nice display. It's useful to have. I've now dimmed the lights down a lot just to show you the lighting effects. You can cycle through the 3 colors. You get a cyan, a darker blue and a green. You can let it auto rotate through those, or you can switch them off entirely, so you can use the remote control button for that. The LED button will control that. I don't find the lights too bright. It's not as in your face as the Qbox was with the lighting effects, so I'm quite happy with that on that side of things. Booting up, you'll see the logos coming up now. Very similar to the Qbox apart from the different model number. Now, one of the main appeals of this box is going to be for the slightly higher spec, so I'm hoping to get some good results from this. Onto the main screen, it's customizable, preset layout for the top grid, but at the bottom you can pick any of the apps that you have installed. There's 8 spare slots, so you can move those around, add and remove apps as you see fit on the shortcuts for the bottom. Works pretty well. It's not the most advanced layout I've looked at, but I think it's quite practical. If you get fed up with the navigation bar, you can just click and hide that if you wish. Now this box has Kodi 16.1 installed and quite a few streams added to it. We also have a reasonable number of apps, some of those which I wouldn't particularly use myself. He's just showing you how to adjust and change the shortcuts for the bar at the bottom. For example, things like Twitter and Facebook, I wouldn't have them on an Android box, but they're pre-installed. They're fairly easy to remove if you don't want them. Pretty happy enough with the layout. It works well enough for me. You have the TV add-ons with this particular one, and quite a few streams have been added to it as well. Now moving into the settings, Android 6, so it's fairly clean and easy to lay out. We can see that we have an option to adjust the power button from suspend, standby, and to a proper shutdown, and I like that feature. That's quite useful. Most of the Android boxes would just go into a standby. This can actually boot down. Onto the normal Android screen now. All the settings you'd expect to hear. You also have screencasting, a mirrorcast, and Bluetooth is built in too. Really, there's not anything that you don't want spec-wise on this. It's pretty much got everything you want. It's sort of the next level up from the Qbox or the mid-level offerings. There's also some memory tools here which give you an idea of memory usage. You've about 1.7 gigabytes. It's using a bit for the graphics. With this box you also have an over-the-air update service, and it does work because I just updated it before I started the review. Minor bug fixes for that. And what I've done is just running a few benchmarks just to give you an idea. Take them for what they are. There is some indication of the performance. We've got a score of just under 2100 in Geekbench for the processor. So a reasonably nice jump up from the lower level boxes. Here we can see some of the breakdown of the results. And a comparison of other models. This result is for the graphics. This will give you an idea on the graphics performance. Roughly you're looking at about double the performance of graphics over some of the lower price boxes, which is quite significant. I can see this perhaps aimed a bit more towards those who are into the Android gaming scene or who want a better 3D performance. The CPU is definitely improved as well, but running the benchmark now on this 3D test, we can see the frame rates running in full HD. Quite happy with the frame rates on this. They're a good 10 to 15 frames per second higher than I was getting on the standard sort of quad-core boxes that I've been testing recently. Average frames per second of just over 37.1. So you won't really be disappointed at all with this as far as the 3D goes. Quick Wi-Fi test. I have a repeater downstairs which I'm connected to, concrete floor, looking about 7-8 meters away, and these are the speeds that I got. I found the Wi-Fi to be pretty good on this. This is on the 2.4G. So you will find that vary depending. You have the dual band 5G, which tends to not have as much range but can give better speeds. But I was quite happy with the Wi-Fi. Similar performance to the Q box. Quick summary on the box for me. Quite happy with the performance of this, and the overall design and styling I found quite attractive, and it ran all the streams and everything I threw at it very nicely indeed. A couple of small points. Would have preferred maybe a touchpad on the remote. Another point is no USB 3, there's a USB 2. Would have liked to have seen a USB 3 port on there. That might have been handy for those using storage media. Other than that though, it's a very nice little box, and certainly I think I prefer it to the Q box, which comes at a slightly cheaper price point.